Welcome to this episode of Spark Plugs. My name is Eric Curts, and I'm a Technology Integration Specialist for the Stark Portage Area Computer Consortium, or SPARCC for short, where we serve about 30 school districts in Northeast Ohio. We've created these Spark Plugs videos to highlight how our school districts are using technology to impact teaching and learning in creative and powerful ways. In this episode, we visit John Smith from Alliance City Schools to learn how their students are creating and publishing their own eBooks and the impact that is having on student writing and creativity across their district.
My name is John Smith. I'm a technology integration specialist, I guess is the popular term for Alliance City Schools. And I do a little bit of everything. So I help teachers integrate technology into the classroom. I help train students on how to use some of the newest technologies that we're using. So Alliance City Schools is in Alliance, Ohio. We have about 3,000 students in an urban school district. A wide range of students, and it's a great place to be. I guess the thing that I'm known for is iBooks, student-written iBooks, and it kind of started about 12 years ago, actually, when I was in my other district, and basically the whole problem for me was that students hated writing, and I couldn't figure out why. I tried all these really cool writing prompts, and we'd pretend like we're dogs and write about the day in the life of a dog, and we'd do a lot of different things, but none of those cool writing prompts in my eyes did any good, and so Apple introduced a software piece called iBooks Author, and for the first time anybody could write and publish a book for free if they wanted to. And so I was like, this might be a cool opportunity, and so I showed it to the kids, and at first they were a little bit scared because they're kind of like, we can't write, we hate writing, and you're talking about publishing a book for the world, and I said, yeah, that's really what we're going to do. And the light bulb kind of went off in their heads and basically said, if we're going to publish a book for the world, then maybe we better take it a little more seriously, and maybe our writing will get better. And so we took a shot. The day after the software was published, we put our first book out into the store, and people downloaded it. And it was crazy. And I mean, at this point, in the last 3 years that iBooks Author's been out, we've published over 64 student-written iBooks. We're working on 65 right now, and those books range anywhere from kids in kindergarten all the way through high school, and actually a couple of college-level student-teacher type classes that have become part of some of the projects that we've done. Most of the projects are just simple narratives. Some of them are literary analysis books. We've got kindergarten kids writing books about shapes and numbers and things that they're learning in classroom, like science terms, bats and different animals. We've had a graphic novel written by students here at the high school. We had children's books written and illustrated by people here at the high school, kids here at the high school. And some of the stuff that we've done recently are more global projects. So we're trying to get classrooms from around the world. I had a simple goal. I wanted one classroom from every state and every country in the world to come together to make a book. And while we haven't gotten everybody in the world to participate, we've had upwards of 38 classrooms in one book collaborate together to create a poetry book about where they live. So that was kind of cool. The second global project was about dreams. So we had students talk about their dreams, things that scare them, things that they're excited about for the future, their goals, their ambitions, things like that. And right now I'm working with a friend of mine from the Huron area, Leo Lacrosse, and we're doing a third global book, and it's all on patterns. So we're hoping to get a lot of other curricular areas included, like math and music and art and things like that. iBooks Author is a free download, and it only works on a Mac, so that's kind of the downside for some people, is that it's only available on a Mac. But in all honesty, if you can type, then you can make a book. So if you've ever used Word or Pages or Google Docs or anything like that, any word processing software, then you can really make a book. And publishing it is not that much harder. It's just a few extra steps. And I guess the thing I want to say is that when I started doing this with iBooks Author, it was the day the software came out. So nobody was doing this. And so I didn't have any manuals telling me what to do or anything like that. So it really isn't, it's not that hard. You just get in and play around with it, and then you can see what's going on. So when you open up iBooks Author, this is what it kind of looks like. This is the book we're currently working on. You would choose from a template, and this is a recipe cookbook template that we chose. And basically you just pick a cover and you just drag images into the cover. And then if you want, you can incorporate video files in there. It automatically creates a table of contents for you. You can add a glossary if you want to it. But then you just start kind of building your book. So I just literally just start dragging pictures in, doing some formatting, adding some things. Really, whatever you want. The book is kind of a blank canvas, and the term book, I guess, is looser now than it used to be. So you can incorporate all kinds of different things. So here was our very first lobby cafe was walking tacos. So we put in a picture of the walking taco that they made, the ingredients, and these are all just placeholders. So you pick an image placeholder, drag an image in. This is a scrolling sidebar, so you just drag in the text and do what you need to do. We put a photo gallery in of all of the ingredients. So if you just click the arrows, you can go through the photo gallery. So that's kind of fun. And then the last one, or the last piece, is the recipe directions. We don't have anything written yet, but the students who are helping to build this book are going to write the recipe directions and steps to making the walking tacos. And once that's done, they're going to give it over to me, and we're going to compile this and put stuff together. We have a customer review section in the book, so the students can collect reviews that their teachers have put out there for them, and off we go. So, I mean, really, in a simple sense, that's iBooks Author. It's just it's basically a fancy word processing tool. One of the other tools that we've used for a lot of our books, especially the kindergarten books, is Book Creator for the iPad. And Book Creator is even easier than iBooks Author, in my opinion, but not as full-featured. But this is definitely a great starting point. And basically, just click New Book, choose a style. I like landscape because it gives you more real estate to kind of play around with. And then it kind of you walk yourself through it. So right now it's asking for a cover. And so I just hit the plus button, and I can choose a photo that I've already got. I can choose a camera roll. I can draw something with my pencil or my finger if I wanted to, add text or add sound to the cover. So I might just say, let's choose a photo. Here's a picture of my daughter. She fell asleep yesterday, so on the couch. So I could draw that and resize it, and that could be the cover of our book. So you just kind of pick a cover. If you want to add text on top of that, you add text. And just say, new book here, I guess we'll go lame. And then kind of just change the color of the text, change the size a little bit, make it a little bit bigger so we can see it. And then, so there's our book. So we've got new book. And then when you're ready for a new page, hit the arrow. And again, there's different things you can add. Photos. You can take live camera roll shots or right there and there if you want, which is a lot what our kindergarten kids do. They run around with their iPads, and if they're learning about numbers, they say, we're learning about the number 5, and we want to write about it. So they run around the school and try to find a number 5 and take a picture of it. The pen, if I hand draw something with my finger, I can put that in as an image into the book, and then keep adding text and things. And then some of our favorite ones is actually the sound button. So if I hit record, it's going to record a sound as the kids are talking. We hit stop and save it, and then now we have a little sound button in the book. And when we push play, it's going to record a sound then it has the sound right there in the book. And so one of the things that I think is really beneficial about that is that the kids, not only are they creating and writing their own books, then they can put a sound in. You can hear them reading their own book, which is really cool. We've had a lot of success with the sound button, especially with the kindergarten kids and some speech students. We've had some speech students writing books, and having them practice reading their page over and over again so that it is right has really helped their speech. think one of the biggest benefits of having kids write their own books is that they are the creators. I'm a big fan of kids making things. There's a lot of good material out there, but nobody knows our kids like we do, and nobody knows our kids like they do. And so having the ability to write your own book is powerful because you are the creator. You're the maker of it, and that puts a lot of power into the kids' hands and a lot of responsibility. And they kind of have they've risen to that challenge. Finding good images or making good images and doing good research, make sure their facts are right. So they've done a really good job of rising to the challenge. I've seen the motivation increase. I went from groups of kids who absolutely hated everything about writing to kids who were begging to write another book. And so, as a special ed teacher, that was something that was unusual. Getting kids to beg to do more work, and so it really has really worked wonders with them. And I think the biggest piece, though, is not even necessarily the tool. But the biggest piece was that they had a different audience, and so instead of me reading all their stuff and marking it all up with red pens and whatnot, I have people from around the world downloading their books, saying, "This is great stuff. I love this. Maybe on this page you guys should update the how to solve that math problem or whatever." And so the kids say they've really done a great job with it. They like looking at the number of downloads. It's to me, it's not, the downloads aren't that important. It's more about the process and getting kids to do things. But the downloads are cool because then we can see and quantify what we've done. And so kids are actually, they're wanting to graph it out in the hallway. How many downloads do we get today? How many do you think we'll get tomorrow? And so there's a lot of cross-curricular things that are thrown in there, and you don't normally think about that when you're just doing a writing activity. We had a one kid who was specifically who specifically really struggled with writing. And one of our speech kids, and it got to a point where on his fourth iBook that he helped with, he actually told the teacher that he wanted to get a song put in the book, and the song was written by one of the Christian rock group Skillet, and she said to him, "Well, I think that's a good idea, but I don't know if we should put it in the book. We've got copyright laws and all that kind of stuff. I don't think we should mess with that too much." And he goes, "Oh, it's okay. I wrote them a letter." And to their manager, and asked if we could have permission to put their song into our iBook. And so again, we went from this kid who hated everything about everything, and is now writing managers of rock groups asking for permission to incorporate their music into a book. So that, to me, I don't know if it gets any more motivating than that, but that's kind of where we're at. One of the best examples, I guess, that I can come up with is in my old district. One of the first books we wrote was a math textbook. So not only is it the English and the writing and the important pieces there, but the kids are like describing step by step, writing step by step, and showing in video step by step how to solve math problems. So we've got a math textbook, we've got comic books, we've got which involves interactive media classes. We've got videos that you can put in there, so you can incorporate video. Anything a kid can demonstrate can be in a book. One of our books had no words in it at all. It was a book of tongue twisters, and so it was just a book where the kids had a bunch of videos of them telling tongue twisters. They were speech kids with articulation problems, and so how do we solve articulation problems? We let the kids tell tongue twisters, and so I think if anything that can be done can be put into a quote unquote book. I think one of the biggest challenges when it comes to this amount of publicity or something when you start publishing these things online is are kids allowed in it? And so with every book that we've ever done, I send out a permission slip to parents just saying, this is what we're going to do. Here's how cool this is. Here's the opportunity that your kids have. Try to really pump it up, and then give the parents choices, because I'm a parent and I understand, if I don't want my kids' face all over Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff, I understand if parents don't want that. So I give them a choice. They can participate fully, pictures, videos, names, whatever, They can partially participate, no name, pictures and writing is in there, or they can just do the writing. And of the 64 books that we've done, I've only had maybe 4 parents decline actually having certain pieces in the book. But because it is writing and because it is school, that part will be included. But for the most part, parents are very accepting to it and very, very excited to see what their kids can put together. Apple is picky. So when you send a book to the bookstore, if it doesn't look good enough, or if it's got a bunch of errors, typos, and things like that, Apple does kind of sometimes send you back replies saying you need to redo something before it gets done. So it's a good lesson to the kids. Edit, and then when it's finally good enough, then we can send it out, and if we have to, we'll edit it again. But other than that, I think those are the 2 biggest challenges. I know that devices can be a challenge sometimes. But a lot of the books that we've done have been done on one Mac and one iPad. And so you don't have to have a ton of stuff. Kids can all gather around an iPad and work on it, take turns typing in their sentences. Here at the high school, a lot of our books are done actually in Google Docs. So our kids type everything up in Google, and then they just send it to me. And then I just copy and paste it right into a book, and then we talk about the pictures and the formatting and stuff a little bit later. But yeah. Well, I think for me it's a quote, and it's a quote that I really take heart to, and it was by Rushton Hurley, and it is, when children create for the world, they make it good, and when children only create for their teacher, they make it good enough. And in my opinion, good enough isn't good enough anymore. So if I were to take one thing away, it's just to get your children's work to a different audience, to bring it outside of the little school walls. And give them an opportunity to share what they're doing with more people, and I think that is motivating enough to get kids to want to try something. Kids need to make stuff, and I don't I talk about iBooks author and I talk about book creator and things like that. I don't care what it is. I just want them to make things, and I don't care if it's an art class. I don't care if it's in shop class. They need to make things, and they need to share that out with people so that other people can see what they're doing. We need to stop giving them all the worksheets. Give them different opportunities to show what they know. Best place is go to my website, and I have it's tinyurl.com/class iBooks, and you can see all 64 of our books there, among other things. But that's basically the best place to go find our books. All of them are available for free on Mac devices, iPads, iPhones, things like that. We've kind of limited ourselves to Apple products at this point for delivery, but it's done well for us so far. But that's where we go, and feel free to contact me anytime if you have any questions. I love talking about this kind of stuff, and I'm more than happy to share more.
Thanks to John Smith and Alliance City Schools for sharing with us today. If your school is doing something creative with technology, we would love to hear your story. Go to sparkplugs.blogspot.com, where you can tell us how you are using technology in education, and we may even make a Spark Plugs video highlighting you. At the site, you'll also find more videos and other technology integration resources. See you there.